You know, when you talk about feminism and you know, where did it start, where did it grow, I think it's always been around forever. I mean, you go back in history and you read
Cleopatra.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Mark Antony and Cleopatra.
Queen Elizabeth.
It is. It's always about women struggling for equality, just to be our own person.
You better send this. Oh my God.
Yes, the media, fortunately, doesn't oppress us at all.
Women in the media do things that are naturally unobtainable by females, like let's say in pornos, like the women do all these crazy positions, bend over backwards 42 times and do cool back tucks and stuff, and naturally when a man can bed up his ladies and expect that kind of stuff, but women can't really do that kind of stuff. So through the media, it creates these things for women to do that they're actually very unobtainable for a regular, everyday, good old hot mama to do.
We don't take women as seriously. We're sexualizing children like JonBenet Ramsey, 6 years of age, with full makeup and sexualized. Of course, Britney Spears did an incredible job of encouraging young girls to see that to perceive that their power in the world comes not from intelligence, from strategizing, from physical strength, but from sexuality and from sexualizing oneself. Those standards are all the more with us today, and we see, men typified as mooks, right, doing outlandish and crazy things for attention, and women as midriffs, if you will, exposing midriffs and other parts of their anatomy so as to gain power.
So girls have to watch what they eat. If they get in one little thing of trouble, it reflects on them hugely.
I think it's because women are seen stereotypically as too emotional. In the office of president, people often require them to be non-emotional and more objective in their decision making.
They fuck shit up. They don't do shit right, but cook and clean.
Maybe the way they grew up. Maybe they grew up in a house where females did not handle such forward or exposed positions.
Males were always able to learn how to go to school and learn how to read and write and things like that, and then the women never really had the chance to do that back in the day, and so now that sort of stuff is, now the females do know how to read and write or whatever, but those kind of tasks that they were given are still kind of expected of them, so they never really had a chance to go out and discover the radium and the oxygen and whatever they were able to discover in science.
A girl does something wrong, it's kind of generalized for the whole female population, kind of with certain races. If an African American's ghetto, people assume all African Americans are ghetto.
We give whiteness and maleness the benefit of the doubt. Anyone who deviates from the male sort of perspective or biology is held in suspicion. Can you really do this job? So if you're female, you're held in greater suspicion. If you are a member of a minority, you are held in greater suspicion. If you're female and a member of a minority, it's a double jeopardy. People are twice as unlikely to trust that you are competent. Where a male might be in a job and screw up, we say, wow dude, you screwed up. When a female, and a female who's a member of a minority all the more, screws up, the conclusion that some people jump to is not that she screwed up, but that minority women cannot perform this job.
Can I curse?
When you call them bitch and slut and whore and slut bag and piece of shit, and, well, you get the picture.
I think it would depend on an individual's definition of oppressed, because I myself as a woman don't feel like I'm oppressed. I feel like that would be too strong a term.
If you look at four-letter words, profanities, aren't most of them directed towards women's bodies and words to defame women? If you think about it, how many words can you think of for vagina?
At least they don't get frisked by the
A lot, quite a few. Yeah, if you think about it. So,
they have more time.
well, like I was just saying, the cop, when I was talking to him, yes, dear, no, dear, yes, dear, and I felt, I had to bite my tongue because but that's how you get talked to. I mean, even today, if I go, this has happened to me before, where you go into a car dealership to purchase a car, and you're going to purchase one for yourself, the salesman will direct his attention to the husband.
It seems as though males do better, or middle to higher socioeconomic class, as opposed to females, particularly if they're single. Single females usually will be in the lower socioeconomic classes, especially if they have children.
When we bought our second house, actually, they, you know, that was at a time where they were very careful about who they gave loans to buy houses. You know, that, of course, that went out the windows. But at any rate, they would not consider my income when they looked at it. Had to be only my husband's income.
Men still make more money than women do. So men overall would have a higher social status than women.
Picking males for the new positions as opposed to females because they think that they're more intelligent and that they are more dominant. And so females are not picked to do jobs, so they have no way of moving up in social status.
Jobs are sexist?
What do you mean by that?
Who wants to hire a girl? Unless she's hot.
We get paid more. We also get better job positions around a lot of jobs. Women also are harassed a lot in the workplace, and women do have babies and they're out of work in 9 months, and a lot of companies and jobs judge that and might not hire women because of it.
I remember working for engineering firms when they wanted to hire someone like a secretary. Now they're called admin people. The men would parade the women in, and whoever had the best legs is the one they would want as the secretary. I remember having to share restrooms with men. There was only one bathroom for men and women, and there'd be stacks of racy magazines in the toilet. And I mean, I've been through a lot. I've worked at jobs where I would have to work 50, 60 hours a week and make less money. That's just the way it is.
People with a female physiology are penalized because of their ability to give birth. It's not a consequence of their biology, it's a consequence of the way that we have built the social system. Women are more faced with the challenge of, do I want to have a child or a professional career? And men don't have to make those choices. We can have it all.
We'll work for food.
God bless. Turn it around. No, it's
God
fine.
bless.
I think it was around 1973 when I went to have a tubal ligation. I could not have it without my husband's signature. And I mean, that's just, and like...
I think it's still that way. I think it is, isn't it? Well, I hope not. Even with my girlfriend, her husband had a vasectomy. I think she had to sign too. I think there's some kind of marital thing. I don't know.
Well, I had to do that back in the 60s. Yeah. Had to agree for my husband to have it.
I think it's still that way though.
I didn't know that.
A lot. Yeah.
I've been in groups too where I mean, I don't get introduced to anybody. I'm just like standing there like the sidekick. And it's just rudeness, manners. People always look directly in the eye too of the man when they're talking, and they just kind of like, hey, and then to the woman, like, you know what I mean, like, hey, and it's, we are treated inferior. And I don't know, how do your male classmates treat you?
In this country, really, I think the feminist movement was always tied closely with the suffragist movement, which was getting the right to vote. And you know, one day I realized that my own grandmother could not vote until, I mean, she later she could, but when she was first old enough to vote, because it's less than 100 years since women had voted.
Which means we were not considered citizens under the law. Men were citizens, we're not. Credit cards. Women could not even have credit cards.
Yeah.
Did you guys know that? And then that was like in the 1960s.
Oh, that was...